let's face it, men of God, women of God, children of God, when you have that sort of commitment, there's going to be adversity at times. Listen to what he says in verse 3. It says, for the time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine, but wanting to have their ears tickled, they will accumulate for themselves teachers in accordance to their own desires. And they will turn away their ears from the truth and will turn aside to myths. Let's face it. MOG on this walk, man of God on this walk. Some people are not going to like your commitment to the Lord. They're going to say you're too close-minded. They're going to say you're too old-fashioned. They're going to say, why you believe all that? This don't belong in this conversation. They're going to say that. Why? That's what the Word of God says. People are going to look and they're going to accumulate for themselves teachers that help them to feel good. They're going to accumulate for themselves teachers that tickle their ears. There will come a time where the Word of God will not be tolerated. There will. I'm going to tell you, there's a such thing as toxic masculinity. There's a such thing as toxic masculinity. And it's an atrocity that, when you look at corporate America, it's mostly white and it's mostly male. And it's an atrocity that when you look at boards and you look that there is a toxic masculinity, a good old boy system that has said, hey, we're going to put females in more administrative and support positions and put more males in more boss positions and more executive positions. That's toxic. And I'm so glad that tide is shifting and shifting, in our community, where we're seeing more and more women that are being raised up into leadership. Because it pushes against toxic masculinity. In addition, women, you have a lot of pressure on you as a woman, and it's due to toxic masculinity. Women have a pressure of, I got to look a certain way. So there's so much augmentation going on. There's so much put into in regards to my hair, my chest, my backside, and I just gotta maintain this image. So ladies, you carry around this picture of what beauty is, and there's so many ladies and girls that put pressure on themselves because I don't look this way, y'all. That came from toxic masculinity to define here's what beauty is, and if you're outside of that, you're really not that pretty. That's toxic. And men of God, we should call it out when we see it, and we should say, no, that's not what a woman is, and that's not what womanhood is. And I'm going to tell you, I do believe some of that has gone into to where women are totally losing their identity. The big question that's going on right now is, what is a woman? And nobody wants to answer that question. Y'all, biologically, there is a woman. No bones about it. There is a woman biologically. And men, we have to defend our girls and our ladies to say, hey, here's what a woman is. And she doesn't have to fit into the mold of straight hair, European lifestyle, and have this much curve and this much chest. No, she is fearfully and wonderfully made as a woman of God. Now, on the flip side, there is some toxic femininity also. Y'all know I'm always going to give you both sides. The toxic femininity says we need to be leading in corporate America. And I say, yes, we need to be judges. We need to be lawyers. We need equal opportunity. But the one thing you don't see a women's march for plumbing. We need more women plumbers. We need more women sanitation workers. We need more women construction workers. They ain't want all that. You know why? Because toxic femininity is not about equal access. It's about power. I want to be powerful. I want to be over a man. I want to activate my feminism. And I want to be over. So don't, y'all, you can keep janitorial, you can keep sanitation, you can keep plumbing, but no, I want to be in control. And let me tell you something, that's toxic also. I don't know why America has gotten to this place of the battle of the sexes. Let me tell you something, we are better together. We need each other, y'all. MOG, we need our WOG. We need our woman of God. We need our man of God. And let me tell you something, I'm not confused about either of you guys' identity. I want a woman of God. And woman of God, I know you want a man of God. Yo, let me tell you something. That sort of pressure on manhood and that statement right there, I don't know if it got me kicked off of Facebook and YouTube right now. Why? Because the world don't want to hear that. The world doesn't want to hear that, y'all. They want to hear, if you're a man in your mind, then go be a man. If you're a woman in your mind, go be a man. No, biologically, God has created man. Biologically, God has created woman, and we need each other. I need a woman of God standing behind me, and I'm so glad I got a woman like Gayla that holds my arms up, prays for me. Y'all, that's a woman of God. And she got a man of God that's holding her up, defending her honor, saying, I don't care what the world says you should be. You are fearfully and wonderfully made as a woman of God. And when we come together, we're powerful. Satan knows what he's doing, y'all. In the beginning, he said, if I can get the woman and the man to act outside of God's order, the whole world will break. Remember, God created man and he said, look, you are going to rule, you are going to name the animals, you're going to be the MOG. He created woman, he says, this is rib, bone of your bone, flesh of your flesh. He didn't create woman from his head, he didn't create woman from his feet. He pulled a rib from his side. Why? Because they walk side by side together. Then he says, woman of God, man of God, you go be fruitful and you go multiply. And they go and they are reigning and ruling in this world together. All of a sudden, Satan comes on the scene. Did God really say? You know how he does? Is that really the definition of what life is supposed to be? It ain't really supposed to be that way. And all of a sudden, what happens? The snake entices the woman. The woman eats from the tree. The woman entices the man and gives it to her husband. So she didn't even have to entice. She just gave it to him. He said, okay, I eat. So guess what? God is nowhere in the picture. The snake is talking to the woman is talking to the man. God is nowhere to be found. Satan totally flips it and puts himself on the throne, woman in second, and man at the bottom. God is nowhere. It's the same thing that happens today. If I can get you confused about roles, get you confused about who you are as a man, who you are as a woman, guess who's on top? Satan is on top. Everything else is at the bottom. God is nowhere to be found.